What is shaking, Internet? This is Salts bringing you the last boss of Dragon Soul, and the last in my series of how to take normal Dragon Soul for dummies. This, as you can see, is the madness. It's the madness of Deathwing. Yeah, the madness of Deathwing encounter. I'm gonna show you a slightly different one. So I'm going to show you something in the background, slightly different. We're gonna be doing it in a different order than I would suggest. We're actually going to do it in the supposedly hardest order. But either way, I'm gonna go ahead and just talk about each platform as we do them. So please go look at my LFR video if you haven't, just to understand the basics, and I'm gonna go ahead and rehash most of it. But like before, there's going to be a couple mechanics on each platform. You're going to have to go through all 4 different platforms, and it's going to get harder, progressively harder as it goes, depending on what platform you start on and what order you do them in. But it'll all be the same mechanics. So, first platform we're going to be on is the blue platform. Since it's the first platform, you know, we have the Dream, which is the big green button. So the Dream gives you a 50% reduction cooldown, or 50% damage reduction cooldown for 6 seconds every 30 seconds. So you can use that to tank. Impale is going to hit like a truck in this. Compared to LFR, it's much worse. In LFR, you can survive the Impale with absolutely no cooldowns whatsoever. Here, you're not going to survive an Impale with no cooldowns unless you have all the buffs from all the dragons aspects, and you're really pretty geared. But otherwise, it's all going to be the same. So, as you can see, at the beginning of every fight, every platform, corruption is going to come up. You need to tank these corruptions. They will need to be switched from tank to tank because of the Impale. The Impale hits really hard, and it gives you a debuff that gives the next Impale 100% increased damage. So you cannot just let them. You cannot take 2 Impales in a row. It might be different on 10-man. I've heard of it being single tanked on 10-man. But either way, you cannot take. You have to switch tanks for Impales. So taunt off whenever the other tank gets impaled, and you'll be fine. As for this, then the second mechanic is going to be the Elementium Bolt. The Elementium Bolt comes down, and in LFR it can almost be ignored, I would say. I mean, it almost is ignored, probably. In normal, you want to kill the Elementium Bolt as fast as possible. You, as a tank, don't need to focus on the Elementium Bolt. However, one thing you do need to note is when the Elementium Bolt comes down, it puts a little swirly field on the ground. And when it puts that swirly field on the ground, what you really want to do is you want to, You want to get as far away from that swirly bolt as possible, because when it hits the ground, it does damage depending on how close you are. So as the tank, you still need to continue to tank the corruption, but you want to get as far away from those swirlies as possible. Also, you'll notice that we're all kind of spreading out here. You want to spread out because the claw does a crush, which slams into the ground as you saw there, and it does it in a line. So a line from the corruption, like that thing, so that it just came down crushing you. You want to be spread out. So when that line comes down, it's going to hit just you or as minimal people as possible. But that's just a thing to note. Either way, so the bolt's going to come down, and I want to see if I can see the swirls on this video. I think I can here. So the Elementium Bolt's coming. It's going to lay down where it's... Okay, so there in the background you see the bubble, which the bubble is good, and then the swirls in front of the bubble. And the swirl is where the Elementium Bolt's going to land. You want to get away from the swirl as much as possible, unless so your people can kill the Elementium Bolt as fast as possible. Later on, this bolt is not going to be slowed down, so you have to get away from the swirl. The other mechanic is the Bloods. The Bloods are going to be exactly the same. The Bloods are going to spawn after a while. In 5 seconds they'll spawn or so. And then you want to tank them. And again, you want to tank them in the bubble. And you want to tank them as close to your raid group as possible. They don't do a ton of damage, but the longer they're up, the more damage they'll do. I think they do a stacking debuff or something like that. So either way, we're single targeting them because of aspect buffs, and we'll get to that in just a second. The last mechanic is the blistering tentacles. The blistering tentacles spawn at 75%. Like, so let's say you're killing this wing tentacle, which is the big thing on the end of the platform. At 75%, it'll spawn 7 or so blistering tentacles. If one of the aspects buff is down, you need to single target these. They take no AoE damage, so you have to single target them. The other one is if at 50% it does the exact same thing. So you want to kill all this blistering. You want to make sure all the blistering tentacles are dead from the 75% before you move on to the 50%, and it spawns more. Because if you have double of them, they're just going to do a ton of damage, and they give you ridiculous amounts of damage. That covers the fight. I'm going to cover the dragon aspects, and then I'm going to do a brief recap of what you do on each platform. Dragon aspects. So, starting with where most people start is green. Green does two things. Green gives you the damage reduction cooldown button, the big green button, which is pretty cool. It's very nice to have that green button there. And now that we've killed green, we lose it. So green, the green button is the tank thing. The other one is you get 20% bonus healing. So healers will be able to heal quite a bit more. That doesn't really concern tanks though. But that green button, if it's there, always use it for Impale. It's always nice to have. Also, you want to use it for any heavy damage, like let's say the end of a phase, when the blistering tentacles are up, and there's a whole bunch of them. We as a guild, we actually kill the first wave of blistering tentacles and ignore the second wave all the time. So the second wave does a ton of damage, and you have to do a lot of stuff. So that one's gonna be okay. You know, you can do something about that. Okay, so that's green, and when you kill green, or when you kill the thing on green, the wing tentacle or the arm tentacle or whatever, when you kill on green, you lose you lose first the green button, and second the 20% bonus healing. So that's a big hit to tank ability, important for you. Let's see, the next one most people do is, I think orange or Nozdormu or whatever. Nozdormu does apply a couple of bonus things here. First thing he does is give you a haste buff, so everybody in the group gives a haste buff. Depending on your tank, it doesn't really matter, it's just going to help your DPS or whatever. Druid's absolutely useless, so I don't even matter, it doesn't care to me at all. The other thing is he's going to put this bubble down, and this bubble gives you I think it slows down attack speed for everything, so when you're tanking the bloods, you tank them inside the bubble. They hit you less, you take less damage, it's great. The problem is, it also slows down the Elementium bolt. And as you saw, the bolt comes in, and it hits that bubble, and it basically stops. And then for 6 to 10 seconds, it's just slowly going through the bubble, and people can kill it that way. You want to kill the bolt as soon as possible, because once it hits the ground, it starts emanating damage, and it does huge waves and huge numbers of damage. That's why ranged DPS always needs to switch to it immediately as soon as they can get it. But as long as the bubble's up, it's a lot better. Without the bubble, then the bolt just hits the spot with the swirlies, and then it starts doing massive amounts of damage. That's very important to know as a tank, because you don't want to take massive amounts of damage. When you kill the yellow arm tentacle or wing tentacle, whatever's on the yellow platform, you will lose the haste buff, and you will lose that bubble. That bubble will not be there. Elementium bolt will be faster, and you will have nowhere to tank you'll have no help in tanking the bloods. That's simple enough. Red applies two very important things. The first one is the death of the blistering tentacles. So as long as red is up, and you haven't killed this tentacle right here, this wing tentacle on the red platform, red will give you first 20% bonus health. So whatever your health is, you get 20% more of it immediately, just for being in the fight. And that's awesome, because that means that you can actually take an Impale without using cooldowns and all that good stuff, or using minor cooldowns. Once red is dead, once red platform is gone, then you are going to have problems, and you will need to use big cooldowns on these. That's why, in my guild at least, we don't kill red. We kill red third, and then we go on to blue. That way we only have to use one major cooldown on an Impale. If you have to take 2 impales on the last platform, you're kind of in trouble. But so that's the first big thing. The second big thing is red actually kills all of the blistering tentacles. The blistering tentacles are the things that spawn at 75% and 50% health of the tentacle, of the big tentacle. So when you're on like the first couple of platforms, let's say you kill green first, those blistering tentacles spawn. As soon as they spawn, Alexstrasza goes, breathes fire, and kills them all. You don't even have to worry about it. Oh, I died. That sucks. So, the other thing is, let's see. What was I trying to say here? So, without red, you have to single target the blistering tentacles, because like I said, they don't take any AoE damage. So, when red's up, and when you haven't killed red yet, it'll kill the blistering tentacles for you. If red's not up, then you have to kill them yourself. And you have to single target them, and it's just really annoying. But either way, that's the 4 different that's 3 different platforms. The 4th one is actually the blue platform, which we normally kill last, but this time we killed first because we're getting the achievement. But so blue is actually one of the better ones, because I think it gives you a damage buff. I'm not 100% sure. I think it gives you a damage buff. But if it doesn't give you a damage buff, it gives you one other buff that's very important. The other buff that is very important is it gives you a automatic AoE. So let's say you hit one of these regenerative bloods, you hit it for 100,000 damage or whatever. It takes half that damage and applies it to everything that's close. So when you're killing these bloods, if you hit any of them for whatever, you deal 50% damage to everything around them. So it's really nice to just be able to kill them all in one wave, as long as blue's up. If blue's not up, then you don't get that damage bonus, and you don't do the AoE automatically. So it's really bad to kill the bloods. If you've noticed in this video, we've actually been struggling to kill the bloods because they heal up to full every 10 seconds. All of them heal up to full, so you have to kill all of them within 10 seconds, or at least one of them in 10 seconds or whatever. And that's pretty much it. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to talk about the last platform first. Stop, Rosie. Dang dog. Yeah. But either way, okay. So the last platform is going to be the same. So you have these Elementium fragments. The fragments show up, and when the fragments show up, they're going to do the shrapnel. So shrapnel on a whole bunch of people in the raid, and what you want to do is use your green button on the shrapnel. The shrapnel gives you a debuff, and after 6 seconds or so, the debuff will explode and do massive damage to you. What you do then is you use a cooldown to reduce that. Dream is the easiest one. The problem is then you won't have Dream to use on the big guys. The big guys, as you can see, are 2 Elementium Terrors. They're the exact same as in LFR. They hit really hard, and they do a stacking debuff. So, as you can see, I have 3 stacks, and the other guy taunted off of me. That's because that's kind of an important thing. The 2 tanks will each be tanking 1 Elementium Terror, and they'll each be getting stacks. So as soon as one of them dies, the stacks will fall off after like 2 or 3 seconds. They should taunt off on the other person because they have 0 stacks, and the other person has like 5 or 6 stacks by that point. Other than that, so this last platform is very easy. You want to AoE down the fragments as much as possible, as much as you can during the fight. Then you want to immediately start killing the Elementium Terrors. Also, as a tank, the best way to do that is to tank them inside the bubble, because you'll be back with the bubble. The bubble will be back, and it will slow down their applying of stacks to you. So it's important, if you can, to tank them in the bubble. Excuse me. So shrapnel is on me. I used my green cooldown. There you go. There you go. Everybody should be doing that. We're really close here. And there comes the bubble. And here comes the Elementium Terrors. I'm going to grab one real quick. So I got that one. There you go. I'm taking quite a bit of damage. I'm going to pop my cooldowns. I'm going to pop my other cooldowns. I need to pop some more cooldowns. There you go. Chris is dead. Other tank is dead. One of the healers is dead. It's not good. I need to pop my big raid cooldown.
Group up.
Yeah, I'm about to do that. So I pick up Earth. Yeah, I pick up the healer. Either way, so just really quickly while we finish this off, I'm going to go ahead and recap it. So, fight starts, tank the mutated corruption, taunt off for each impale. Once the Elementium bolt is down, run away from the swirlies if it's not slowed. Even if it is slowed, try and get as far away from them as possible while still tanking the corruption. And then after, let's see, after... Yeah, so we got the achievement there, rock on, awesome. And then after that, you want to tank the bloods. The bloods will come down, and you want to tank them. As soon as the bloods are done, are all dead, you want to just kill the boss and single target the tentacles. If red is dead, if red is gone, then you want to single target the tentacles. Other than that, hopefully this has been a little bit more informative than my LFR one, but the LFR one is the same. So enjoy yourselves, and thanks for watching. Thanks for watching this series, and hopefully I'll have my heroic series up soon enough. As always, you guys leave comments below if you have any, and you keep it salty, internet.